All right, I'm going to do a demonstration now on how to create a type of non-objective art called neurographic art. Neurographic means pictures having to do with your neurons or the things in your brain that help you to make connections. So this art has to do with making connections and using your brain and your imagination a little bit. So the first thing you're going to do is just make a random scribble. And it's best if you don't even look and don't try to make your scribble look like anything in particular. So for example, you can't tell because I'm on video, but I am looking away from my paper. I'm starting on one side and I'm just making a random scribble all the way across. And you could do more than one if you want to, so maybe I'll go the other direction too. So random scribble. I'm using a Sharpie to do this. Any marker would work fine. I do recommend using a marker or a crayon and not a pencil for this, because I want you worried more about your choices that you're making and not worrying about trying to erase and make everything look a certain way. Now that you have your lines, if there are any of them that don't quite go to the edge of your paper, like this one here, you can continue it over to the edge. And what we're going to try and do is make our connections between our lines really blended in. So the way we do that is anywhere there's a line that's crossing and it's making a little point, you're just going to kind of draw a little curvy line and color the point in. So there's some points there, so I'm going to color those in. There's a point there. And you're just going to go through and do that until you fill in any of those points. We want it to look very rounded and very connected together, like it's one whole big line instead of a bunch of separate lines. And don't worry about filling them in exactly. We're just trying to make it look a little smoother. So I'm going to speed the camera up to do this part just so you don't have to watch me fill in circles, but you take your time to fill these in as long as you need. And this is supposed to be a very relaxing style of artwork, so don't stress about it. Just get those corners filled in, take your time, no rush, and don't worry if it doesn't fill in exactly. Okay, it looks like I've got most of my little corners filled in now. And if you find out you missed one or two, oops, missed one there, then you can go back and do them as you go. Once you've got this first scribble done, we're going to add more shapes to our picture. And you can use any kind of shape you feel like. And you just draw it right over top of what you already have. So maybe I'll show a couple different shapes. So maybe I'll do a circle. Here's a circle. Maybe I'll make a heart. There we go. You can do squares or rectangles or other shapes that are pointy. If you don't want the points, you can just make the edges more rounded. Then you're going to go through one more time and find any of those corners that you have now, because you probably made some new ones when you added your shapes. There we go. Okay, I've got all my new corners mostly filled in now. And like I said before, if you find more as you're going, don't worry about it. Just go back and fill them in later. And now that I have this really cool looking design, I'm going to add some color. You can add color any way you want to. You could use markers, crayons, colored pencils. I'm feeling like colored pencils today. Just, it's what I'm in the mood for. And whatever colors you want to use is also up to you. You could use the same kind of color for the whole thing and make it monochromatic. You could choose opposite kinds of colors, whatever you feel like doing. There's also a couple different ways you can color it in. So for example, pick out a color here. I like this blue here. This color looks good to me. When you color, what you can do is color it in just a solid color, like I'm doing with this one right now. And you could maybe use the same color a couple different places around your picture. Or if you want one particular shape to stand out, you could color just that one blue and then color all the other ones something else. You can also add shading to this if you're using crayons or colored pencils. Once you've done it, go around and color the edges in a little bit darker. You don't have to color the whole picture in. Just color it in as many of the shapes as you want until you feel like it looks complete. Maybe that means coloring all of them in. Maybe that only means coloring a few here and there. That is your decision as the artist of this non-objective artwork. So I'm excited to see what cool designs you want to create. I'll finish this one up and put the picture of it at the very end.